Hey, welcome back guys. This is Doug and this is my poker vlog. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. If you can hit that like and subscribe button, that would be great. Helps other people like yourself see the video on YouTube. So just do that for me and we'll get right into the action. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. You get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. So hang on, it's a good ride. All right, we're headed into Capital again. A little 1-3 action. No preconceived notions right now. Just trying to play my best game. See you inside. All right, I bought in for the game for 300. We sit down, haven't played a hand in about an hour. Finally pick up a pair of sevens in the cutoff. 2 limpers, I raise to 15, and I get 3 callers, including the 2 limpers and the button. The flop is pretty good. It's king 5 deuce, especially when the first 2 players check to me. And the player behind me kind of looks like he's grabbing for chips, trying to prevent me from betting. So I'm encouraged with this pair of sevens. I think I'm good here. So I go ahead and bet 20. He calls, the other limpers fold, and we go to a turn. Turn is a pretty good card. It's a blank in my opinion, so I decide to leave for $50 here. I'm thinking I'm going to fold out all his raggedy hands, but he is undeterred and he goes ahead and puts in the call for 50. And I'm thinking, well, maybe my read is wrong on it. Maybe he has some sort of weak king. So when the ace comes on the river, I decide to turn my hand into a bluff, and which is a mistake, obviously, because he quickly calls, and I roll over my sevens, and he shows me ace jack and takes it down. So the first 2 hours of my play has gone sort of like this. I'll be on the button, I'll raise with king 9 suited, I'll get a couple callers. Flop comes ace deuce deuce with 2 hearts, so I flop the nut flush draw. I bet, and then a person just calls. And this person only calls if they have an ace or a deuce. They wouldn't call with anything else. So I know I'm dead here, hoping for a heart. Turn card comes as an 8. He checks to me, I just check it back. He's not going anywhere. River card comes as a jack. Now he fires out and I just muck the hand. Lots of hands like this one. So I finally switch seats and I pick up king jack and it's folded to me. So I go ahead and put in a raise to 13 and I get 1 call from the big blind. Flop comes ace queen 5. I go ahead and represent the ace and he puts in the call. I'm putting him on a queen or an ace with a very weak kicker. So when he checks to me again, I decided I'm just going to polarize my hand here and put the pressure on. So I bet 55, he flashes a queen and ends up folding. So this is my first pot of the day. Later I pick up ace king of hearts, open for a raise to 14. And we get 1 caller. He quickly checks on this flop. Makes me a little nervous, but I decided to go ahead and bet out 20 anyway. And he doesn't think long before putting in the call. I'm putting him on some sort of flush draw, a queen, or possibly a pocket pair. When the turn card comes as a 5, I'm just going to check down here, try to realize my equity if he has a missed flush draw. And he turns over pocket 9s. All right, this hand's a little strange. Someone makes it 7 to go. I'm in the big blind, so I go ahead and call for the extra $4 from a 9-5 of hearts, hoping for a good flop. And the flop comes 3, 4, 6 with 2 hearts. So I check it, and it gets checked to a player who bets out 21. He seems to really like his hand by the way he bet. I just put in the call, and we go 3 ways to the turn. Turn card is a queen. It really doesn't help, but I'm afraid he's going to put in a larger bet than I would like. So I try to do a little blocker bet, knowing that the player behind him might entice him just to call, which he does. And when the river card comes as a jack of hearts, I'm feeling pretty good about my hand. So I go ahead and make a bet for about half-size pot here. And he quickly grabs his chips and puts in the shove. Now, I played with him a lot, and he's the type of player that he might shove on the flop or the turn and be a little light, but when he shoves on the river, he really thinks he has the nuts. So looking at the hands, I originally thought maybe he flopped two pair, possibly a set, who knows, maybe even a straight. And now I'm believing he probably had like a ace six of hearts, maybe a 7-6 of hearts. But would he shove with a 7-6 of hearts? I really don't think he would shove with a small flush, and there aren't too many small flushes that I beat. I mean, he has to have 7-6 or 8-6 of hearts or 8-7 of hearts for me to really beat him. Those are the only playable hands he has. And when he shoves, he's pretty nutted here. So I don't like letting hands go like this, but I really feel I'm beat. And this is a spot where I'm just going to have to let this one go. So after a lot of thinking, I just muck it, and he flashes the 5 of diamonds and said he flopped it. All right, look down at a pair of aces, raised to 15, ended up getting 2 callers. Flop is pretty good. It's king 10-8 rainbow. So when it's checked to me, I go ahead and put in the bet for $23, about half size pot, and they both quickly fold. The very next hand, we look down at the same 2 aces. Being under the gun, I decided to go for the limp re-raise. So I limp him for $3. A player out back raises to 15. It's folded to me, so I go ahead and make it 40. And they just insta-jam. So, of course, I'm calling it off. I normally don't do the limp re-raise. Maybe once or twice a year I'll do it. But it's very effective in certain situations in the 1-3 game. Anyway, the flop comes 9-4-5, and we get a clean run out, and he showed pocket eights. The following hand, I'm in the big blind with ace 5 of diamonds. Flop comes jack high with 2 diamonds. I check it. Someone makes a bet for $10, and we get a bunch of callers, so I go ahead and put the call in for $10, and we get to see the turn card. $65 in the pot. Turn card is a 6 of hearts. I go ahead and check again. It gets checked to the button, who's a solid regular. He puts out a bet for 45, denying equity to all us people on the draw. Anyway, I still think I'm getting a good price, especially if I get 1 or 2 of the players behind me to overcall. So I go ahead and put in 45. We get 1 caller behind, and the other player mucks his hand. So with 200 in the pot, we go to the river card, and we miss. It's a pair. We make a pair of 5s on the river. We check, of course. It gets checked around to the button, who assembles a bet for $100. We're done with the hand. We go ahead and muck it, and he takes it down. Look down at another premium hand, 2 kings. We had 1 limper. I raise it to 17, and to get 2 callers. So we go in position to a flop, and the flop comes ace 4-5 with 2 clubs. So I got second pair with a backdoor flush draw. They both check to me, so I go ahead and take a stab at the pot. It's definitely in my range to have an ace here, and it's hard for them to call with that one. So I bet 21, and they both fold. All right, in this hand, I pick up ace king of hearts in the small blind. Somebody opens for 3. It gets folded to a middle position player who makes it 8. The next person calls the 8. And when it comes back around to me in the small blind, I go ahead and raise it to 58. The blinds and the first limper fold. It's on the person who made it 8 to begin with. He thinks for a little bit and then ends up putting in the call for 58. The other player folds his hand, and we go heads up to a flop. So with $142 in the pot, the flop comes ace 6-4 with 1 heart. So it's a good flop for me. I'm hoping he has an ace, but I'm not going to give him any kind of free draw if he happens to have a pocket pair with a spade in it. So I just go ahead and bet 2/3 pot here, $80, and he lays his hand down. So in the small blind, I pick up a pair of tens. I raise the 2 limpers. Only the big blind calls. Flop comes 10-7 deuce. I'm pretty nutted here. I'm going to check this to him. Turn card comes is a jack of hearts. This time I lead for 20, and he puts in a raise to 60. He only has about another $80, $90 maybe behind. There's no way I'm folding here, but just in case I'm ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and put in 120. He shoves, and I call off whatever his remaining cards are, or chips are. The river card comes as a king of hearts. Dealer asks him to show his hand, and he's reluctant to show his hand. So I go ahead and turn mine over, and then he slow rolls me with the 8-9. A solid player opens for a raise to 15. I call with king, queen of hearts. I get several other callers behind us. So we go multi-way to a flop with king, queen of hearts. The flop is not ideal for us. It comes ace 10-6 with 2 diamonds. It gets checked over, and I'm quickly checking, and it ends up getting checked around. So I get a free draw at catching a jack here. If I had it one time, I would be using it right now. But the turn card is a blank, deuce of spades, and now the person in the small blind goes ahead and leads at it for $50. Yeah, I'm just giving it up here. 2 flush draws on there. Gut shot straight draws, not really worth it. He does get 2 callers behind him. So with 340 in the pot, the river card is a queen of clubs. He again bets out $50, and he does get a crying call from the first caller. The next player showed that they had the queen jack of diamonds as a draw, and that he missed. Anyway, the person who bet out shows over ace jack off, and he takes it down. Here I am in the small blind with ace jack offsuit. The button opens for a raise to 13. He's on the tighter side, but I decided to make a play here, so I squeeze it to 53. He ends up calling. I'm figuring he has a hand like ace king, ace queen, maybe king queen. So I'm hoping for a ragged flop so I can steal it, and it comes out 8 high. So I go ahead and make a bet for $60 here, and he quickly folds his hand. Someone opens for a raise to $10, and I got pocket 4, so I go ahead and call the $10. And the person behind me min clicks it back, makes it 20. So we go 5 ways to the flop. The flop is 10-7-3 with 2 hearts. That's nothing for me. I end up checking it, and it gets checked around. So the turn card comes as a 6. I decided to take a little stab at this pot with a $30 bet, and I only get 1 caller from a young professional player across the table from me. Everybody else folds, so it's heads up to the river. And the river card comes as a 5. So I make the straight. I was thinking that he might be on some sort of flush draw and might want to shoot his way out of this. So I check it to him. And I expect him to maybe bluff at this. He does polarize his range, and he goes for a bet of 120. And I was thinking to myself, okay, he either has 8-9 here, or maybe he has 2 pair and he thinks that's good. Maybe he had like some hand like 7-6 or something. But I was thinking if he had 8-9, would he really just call my bet with 2 flush draws on there? So I kind of level myself into thinking that he doesn't have the straight. And so I go for a very thin value jam on him. I figured he would call me off with just about anything, thinking I'm trying to move him off. So I go ahead and shove all in, and he quickly calls. And as soon as he called, I knew he had me. Anyway, lesson learned. So after stacking myself on that last hand, I rebuy for $400. As I'm putting the chips down, I get late start on filming this, but someone made it $10 to go, and I called with the 7-6 of clubs. Flop comes 10-9-5 with the 10-9 of clubs. I check it, and someone puts out a little bet for $5, and he gets 2 callers. So when it comes back around to me, I make it 30, and everybody quickly folds, and I take down a small pot. Here I pick up 2 black queens under the gun, so I raise to 15. The person in the cutoff goes ahead and makes it 30. So they only have like $120 maybe behind. So I go ahead and just stick it in, and they quickly call. The flop comes jack high. I told him I had a pair. He has 10s, and so my queens stand up and take this one down. And for the final hand of the evening, I look down at ace 10 on the button. It's a 5-way limp pot. I just limp behind. Flop comes ace jack 5. It gets checked to me. I make a standard continuation bet, and I get 1 caller from the player across the table. I'm thinking he has a weak ace here. The turn card comes as a king of diamonds. He checks again. This time I'm just going to check back for deception. River card comes as a 3 of spades. He checks again. Now I'm going to size up, make him think maybe I have a misdraw or maybe a pair of jacks or something. So I bet 35, and he quickly calls. And my ace is good. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I didn't enjoy it as much as you did. I still have areas of my game I need to work on, like not bluffing into a calling station, not folding the winner, and not shoving into the nuts. If I can avoid those things, I would have had a much better day. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.